Hello, I'm Carolyn Black-Sotier, and welcome to Kaleidoscope, your guide to the arts in Hartford County. The arts unify communities, and here on Kaleidoscope, we keep you up to date on the county art scene, highlighting local artists and organizers who are working to bring all of us together, making Hartford County a better place to live and thrive. So, let's get started. They envision a world full of people who care, who are kind, and who believe in the power of community and the greater good. They are the True North Project. Joining me to tell us how they're leveraging the power of the arts to build a healthier society are Pam Burns, President and Creative Director, and Elizabeth Berman, Treasurer and Managing Director. Wonderful to meet both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think what you're doing is fabulous. And I'd love to know, first of all, I love the name of your organization, the True North Project. And I think, if I'm right, Pam, you're sort of the one who started this whole idea.
It is. It's been coming. I was a presenter. I've been a presenter for quite a while in Hartford County. I started Freedom Road Productions with Rob Lee.
Sure.
And we had Susquehanna Music and Arts Festival. And in a way, they were hobbies. We did that. They were fun. They were great. But I've always thought there could be more, and that I wanted to bring music and performance opportunities to populations that don't necessarily have the opportunity to see those things. And
right.
Big into education and working together and that sort of thing. So it's funny, every time I talk to a friend lately, they're like, oh, you've been talking about this for years, and I have. But I feel like it's been developing, and Liz and I met, we both worked at Chesapeake Shakespeare Company, and we just instantly connected. And Liz is just what I needed to move forward. And so we started talking about it. And so it's actually coming to fruition. We're now a nonprofit. We have
Terrific.
Nonprofit
Congratulations.
status.
That's not easy to get. That takes some work. Yeah.
We've been spending a lot of time on bylaws and conflict of interest statements and all of the business part of it, but we're ready to go now. And, it's a concert series, but it's also, again, we're going to provide workshops and retreats.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that, Elizabeth. So
Yeah, sure.
I know you're just getting off the ground, and one reason we're so glad you're here is that people who are watching can be part of the True North Project, which is, is wonderful. And it's, as you said, it's multidisciplinary, it's all the arts. And so tell me sort of some of the things that are in fruition, are coming to fruition right now with True North.
So we're kind of starting with our performance series, and it's a monthly performance series. So we're trying to book somewhere every month between now and the end of December, and then we'll look at 24 when we get there. So that is, right now, it's predominantly focused on folk music artists, and that runs the gamut from Woody Guthrie to style to more Indigo Girls, more pop style, and then beyond that, once we get into really doing workshops, we want that to be able to come to communities who don't have access, like Pam was saying, and that looks like everything from K through 12 education access and being an in-school resource for our community here in Hartford County, as well as eventually more regionally based, as well as looking at partnering with homeless shelters, with organizations that serve migrants and immigrant populations or incarcerated citizens, people who live in poverty and are just above the poverty line, and every different kind of population that we know is not being served, and that doesn't have access to it for whatever reason, because obviously all of those groups are very different and each have their own struggles that we want to, and our goal is really to eliminate those struggles, to facilitate eliminating them. Through the arts, through exploration.
And your background is in classical music. You're an accomplished professional oboist.
Yes.
So how does this fit in with the folk music? I know you both worked at Chesapeake, but obviously there is a commonality that is shared among people who find the power of the arts and what it can do and how it can reach people all across the spectrum, the economic, the social spectrum, right? Right. All right. So let's talk a little bit. You talked about you're doing something. Because you're starting, you are looking for partners. You're very inclusive. partners, sponsors. Tell me a little bit about some of the you have a podium right now, to say this is what we're looking for, so people who are watching might want to get involved.
I would say that we're looking for anyone who has ideas that kind of are different than what we've experienced in traditional art forms before. And we're looking for connections to any population that is interested in exploring the arts and using that as a personal tool to finding their own true north, and how to find their guiding principles and how to find their own values, and then to leverage their artistic experience, the experience they have with an artistic moment or an artistic work, or an art gallery, or whatever it is.
So you're creating a community too, right?
Exactly.
Right, through the arts.
In fact, with some of the kids that we are going to be working with, not everybody is somebody who wants to be up on stage. So I like the production part of things. So having kids help, and even taking tickets, and helping, bring water to the performers, or what it takes to set up a performance or any event. We're really interested in bringing that piece of it in also.
Well, let's talk more specifically about the monthly performance series. So I think we know that Dan Navarro is going to be...
Dan Navarro is going to be here May 5th, and our home base is State Theater in Havre de Grace, and they're wonderful. They just provide great sound. But we also, not only are we bringing Dan Navarro and some great accent, but we're going to have afternoon shows, which Saturday afternoon, we kind of came right along when Jamie Lee Curtis was saying she wanted to go see Coldplay play in the afternoon, and we're like, what a great idea. So we're doing that. Dan Navarro travels all over the world, and he's most known, along with his previous partner who passed away, Eric Lowen, for the song We Belong. It's in commercials all over the place. And if you can come to any concert, I mean, it's a good start. Like dragging somebody along that says, I don't want to go listen to folk music. This isn't this isn't.
And you are an expert on folk music, so with your endorsement, I know you also have two other programs: Friction Farm on August 19th,
right?
And also in November you have another concert going on.
Right. November 18th is Sonia with Disappear Fear. Sonia is from Baltimore. A lot of people know Sonia. Right now she's in Germany. She's really well known all over the place, and she is doing an international release of her upcoming CD.
Oh, awesome.
And we're going to be part of that. And it's going to be broadcast. I mean, it's a big thing. I was just talking to her manager yesterday, and it's huge for us to get this.
That's great.
Again, it's her hometown. Baltimore's her hometown, and Terry and I, her manager and I, were part of the team, along with Sherry Panzer, that started Susquehanna Music and Arts Festival.
Okay, all right. And then I know you, in your future, you're also working on a podcast, correct? Wow. So you have big dreams, but what's so exciting is that you are inviting everyone to be a part of this. And I think people want to belong, and what a great way to bring people together, but through the arts. So my hat off to both of you, Pam and Elizabeth, and we look forward to having you come back and giving us an update as you grow and expand to all across the county and beyond.
That'd be great. Thank
you. Come see us.
Okay. Jordan Lally is a singer-songwriter, a meditation teacher, and an advocate for mental health through self-expression, mindfulness, and connection. After featuring him on the program a few years ago, we were eager to reconnect and learn more. So get ready to be inspired as we shine a light on Jordan Lally.
Being in a band, an independent band, is truly a grind. What I thought was that I was going to be a rock star and it was going to be easy because my talent was going to be recognized, and I'd be choosing to have green M&Ms in the green room and so on and so forth. It was the exact opposite. The experience of our band, Big Infinite, started under a different name. We were called Fiction 20 Down. At 27, I started singing, playing shows, but really I wanted to start touring and not just play kind of in the Maryland area. And so my desire to tour really is what landed me with DJ and Andre, my bandmates. The two of them are phenomenal musicians. The three of us clicked though as a band. And we started touring around the East Coast, then nationally, and we were doing typical band things, living out of a van, playing festivals in California, empty bar gigs the next night. It was kind of best of times, worst of times. Everything was about the next goal though for me. I was kind of like leading us, I was managing the band at the time. And, as soon as we'd accomplished something, it was on to the next thing, and nothing was really fulfilling. Well, at least for me personally, I wasn't allowing it to be. So though on the surface we were checking boxes and making a name for ourselves, charted in the top 10 on iTunes and won a couple of awards and stuff like that, it wasn't really resonating in a way that was meaningful to me. But then things changed when I lost my dad to suicide in 2014. At that point, I told the guys, like, look, I need a break. And so that's what we did. That's what I did, and they took a break too, and we didn't play music for months and months and months. Eventually, I kind of started writing again, and it felt very much different, the kind of songs that I was writing. They were very honest, like unflinchingly honest. There was no more filter. There was no more trying to appease or appeal or anything. It was just, there was one rule: what is the truth? What is my truth in this moment? What is my emotional truth that I'm trying to express? Whatever that was, made it onto the page. And if it made it a better song or a worse song, it didn't matter, because songwriting was only a vehicle for the truth. When DJ and Dre joined me in the studio and we started jamming again, the music was just different. The vibe was different. I was honest in my songs. I was more honest with them as just a human being. We had all lived through my father's passing, and the way we had handled his passing was to be honest as a family. So that carried over into all of my relationships. It carried over into the band. We changed our name to The Big Infinite, and we started releasing music, and yeah.
I wanna get right but lost beneath the credo. I wanna live and I'll bring me to my knees. Oh, I wanna see the light, there's something I can't see though. How to get it right. And the day is every day if you're living it the right way. But no spot where you don't get upside. On our way. 55 on a 5-way, right way, and green side and what they all say. But I'm content to just sit and let life play.
When your art is bridging that connection with other people, when they're either singing along or clapping along because they're having fun, or they tell me that I was in tears, and like there's no greater compliment to me than the song that made me cry. It's now unearthing that same emotion in you in some way. Like that's the highest high.
I gotta get outside and play. Take your fears out the doorway. Make your way, love no way. Every day.
The first half of our career, I wasn't doing the things to find that high. I didn't even realize that I was doing the superficial things because I wanted people to think I was cool and a rock star. But then once I started just putting my heart out there, yeah, those moments, those highs, those opportunities to connect, just sort of started to manifest it.
And the day is every day if you're living it the right way. But no spot where you don't get upside, eh? And we'll be on our way.
Look for a special Shine a Light feature during every Kaleidoscope program. When we return, Dr. Iris Leigh Barnes will be here with information on what the Hosanna School Museum has planned for this summer. Stay tuned. This year's Maryland Arts Summit will take place in person at UMBC on June 8th and 9th. The Maryland Arts Summit is a statewide conference presented by and for the Maryland arts sector. Arts advocates, educators, administrators, community stakeholders, and of course, artists can network, learn about communities different from their own, and have productive conversations to move the Maryland arts sector forward. Be sure to save the date. As you begin to plan your summer schedule, make sure to reserve at least one day on your calendar for a visit to the Hosanna School Museum in Darlington. This beautifully restored schoolhouse is the first of 4 Freedmen's Bureau schoolhouses in Harford County. With me on the program to invite you to explore this historic treasure is Dr. Iris Leigh Barnes, Executive Director of the Hosanna School Museum. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you as well. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I have a confession. You and I had a chance to talk before coming on air, and I had not known about the Freedmen's School and learned so much about it. It's a fascinating history, so I'm sure our audience, our viewers would love to hear as well.
Well, hopefully after today, more people will hear about it, but it's one of Harford County's treasures, and we have so many. And Hosanna, it represents the Reconstruction period, the time after the Civil War. So inside we interpret from Civil War to Civil Rights, or as we say, the transition to freedom.
Right.
But as a Freedmen's Bureau school, it was built in 1867.
Okay.
With assistance from the Freedmen's Bureau, which was mandated by the War Department to help the recently freed slaves, to help them, reunite their families with disputes with their former slaveholders, and to get an education.
So there were a lot of challenges.
There were
right?
many challenges. Freedom wasn't just all life was wonderful. You had many oppositions, people who didn't want you to be free or want you to get an education. And so there were a lot of battles, and there was violence and a lot of dark stories, but a lot of great stories. And so this is one of the great stories about resilience and the brilliance of African Americans against the odds with all these obstacles in their way.
So you help recreate, or maybe not recreate, but educate people about what was happening then at the schoolhouse today. You do that. So if I'm visiting the schoolhouse, what kinds of things would I be participating in or viewing or seeing?
So, we like to tell that story of the one-room school experience, but what was it like, not just in Harford County? We try to bring it into context, United States context. So all of the various issues that the African Americans were facing at that time, as I mentioned, gaining an education was one of the major issues, because maybe if it wasn't against the law, there were people who didn't want you to get an education. So I say to the young people, get your education, because it's so valuable that people would try to stop you from getting it. But you'll see the one-room school, and our programming includes, maybe we'll do film screening, or we'll have costume interpreters who embody a particular personality so that people can learn that way and then ask that person questions.
Neat.
And so, we might have Harriet Tubman talk about the Underground Railroad. Harford County is right on the upper edge, next to Cecil, right near the Susquehanna River. So the Underground Railroad was very important in Harford County. There are many stories that we're trying to capture now, and those are some of the stories that we reveal at Hosanna. So
now you mentioned Harriet Tubman. You also, there's a reenactor, an Edmonia Highgate.
Yes.
Can you tell me about her?
Edmonia Highgate was Hosanna's first teacher, and she comes from Syracuse, New York. She's sent by a Christian organization. The American Missionary Association. We're fortunate to have some of her letters in order to kind of recreate her life. And so we have a costume interpreter who brings her to life for audiences to ask her questions. But she was associated with many abolitionists, Frederick Douglass, Henry Highland Garnett, Francis Ellen Watkins Harper, who she meets in New York, but they're all Marylanders, which is exciting.
It is. It is.
And so she had to be courageous to come down here, travel alone, face opposition, conditions were not ideal. They got to find places to live and board with families. And
well, it's great that you're telling her story. And you do even more than this. Tell me a little bit about the Freedom Initiative, what that's all about.
Our Transition to Freedom Initiative, yes. So that's really where we have various projects, signage throughout the county, a story map project we're working on, and a booklet that tells the story from Civil War to civil rights. Because as I mentioned, freedom didn't just come as instantly with the Emancipation Proclamation or the Constitution, Maryland's Constitution, but it was a process. Some people didn't want to let go of, you know, the enslaved people. So freedom was a process. And so we look at all the various issues and the sites of memory that tell those stories.
Okay. Now, we mentioned that there are 4 Freedmen schools in Harford County. We've talked about Hosanna. There's another one called McComas, right? In McComas Village. Can you tell me about that? That's something that you also, is part of your organization, and you oversee that.
Yes, exactly. So Hosanna's in Darlington, one end of the county. McComas is in Joppa, and it's called McComas Institute. And we recently, McComas Institute, or Village, which includes the school, the church, and the cemetery, designated as a landmark district.
Terrific.
Harford County Landmark District. So we're still restoring the school there, and the church will hit that next, and so that'll be another place to tell these stories and bring those stories to life.
It's a beautiful building too. We had a picture up just a little while ago.
So the exterior's been mostly restored a couple years ago. We're working on the inside with some permanent exhibitions, and so give us another year. Come on and visit. Hopefully we're going to open up this year with some temporary exhibitions.
Terrific. Okay, we have a little less than 2 minutes left, so I want to get to some of your big events. Your signature event, which is the Upper Bay Juneteenth event.
Yes. This festival, it's a fun-filled day for the whole family. We call it edutainment. So you're going to learn a lot, but you're going to be entertained at the same time. And we have costume interpreters. We have buffalo soldiers. We have horse rides. You know, the usual vendors and food trucks and lots of children activities, concert, African dancers. It's just a whole day from 12 to 6 to celebrate achievements and culture.
Okay, all right. Then in May, you have something which is part of your speaker series. Can you tell me about that too?
So we're calling it our Sister Centennial.
I was going to let you say that. I didn't want to say
Storyteller series, which is we're joining in the Harford County celebration of 250 years. Wow. So we each month featured a storyteller, and they bring these stories to life different ways, their own ways, maybe through poetry, through drumming and singing, and through tall tales. And so in May, we have Dr. David Fakunle, who will bring his stories, and really from an African perspective. So we're looking at different angles of this multifaceted, very complex story of Harford County and the African American experience.
All right, well, so you have a wonderful website. We're going to put that website up right now so our viewers can see that, and they can log on and then get a lot of the information about the Juneteenth Festival, about the speaker series, about just visiting the museum as well. So, well, it's been wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much, Iris, and I look forward to coming and visiting this museum for the first time. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
There's more to come on Kaleidoscope, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Harford County artists, arts organizations, and businesses are invited to participate in Arts Across Harford, September 15th to the 30th. Be sure to add your event to the Arts Across Harford page on visitharford.com. Welcome back to Kaleidoscope. As the government-appointed local arts agency, the Harford County Cultural Arts Board is the primary local resource for arts organizations, for artists, and for you, our county residents. The board's mission is to preserve, enhance, and promote the culture of Harford County, Maryland. At their recent arts gathering, the Harford County Cultural Arts Board announced plans to begin hosting quarterly arts gatherings. Happy hours will be scheduled at locations around the county, bringing different segments of the arts community together to catch up, show support, and connect with each other and the Cultural Arts Board members. Mark your calendars now for these special networking events. The first quarterly arts gathering is planned for June 1st at Harford Winery in Jarrettsville. Local dance and theater artists are invited to mingle and enjoy the evening together from 5 to 7 p.m. Then, on September 11th, visual and literary artists are invited to the arts gathering at Hopkins Farm Brewery in Haverty Grace from 5 to 7 p.m. And finally, on January 11th, 2024, instrumentalists and singers are invited to the arts gathering at Das Beer Hall in Bel Air. Visit culturalartsboard.org for more information. And that wraps up today's program. Thank you for watching Kaleidoscope, produced in partnership with the Cultural Arts Board of Harford County and aired exclusively on Harford TV. We hope you'll continue to tune in to Harford County's Arts Connection. For Kaleidoscope, I'm Carolyn Black-Sotier.